I'm going to say something that's going to annoy a few people. There are a lot of people that have moved teams this season. Have you heard anybody talk about Nico Hülkenberg getting used to a new scenario at Kick Sauber? Have you heard anybody talk about Esteban Ocon getting used to Ferrari power at Haas? Have you heard anybody talking about any of the new rookies getting used to their new settings as much as you've heard people talk about Lewis Hamilton getting used to Ferrari? If you're a 7-time world champion, you don't need these excuses. I'm already tired of hearing about that. You're an F1 driver. Get used to it. Adapt. No one said that when George Russell moved to Mercedes and then beat Hamilton. So why is he getting these excuses this early? If he performs, he performs. If he does wrong, he does wrong. Don't give excuses for a 7-time world champion. He shouldn't be giving himself excuses. And he's the one that keeps talking about it. Oh, I'm getting used to the car. You haven't heard Esteban Ocon say that.
He is clearly so very pissed about Ferrari that he's taking it out on Lewis Hamilton.
It's just one race into the season and I'm really trying not to overreact. I was promised a championship winning car. And instead I had to watch 57 laps on the first race of the season of Lewis and Charles Leclerc battling an RB and a Williams.
If you just look at the 3 radio messages that we have here, it should be us saying to Lewis Hamilton or Luther saying to Lewis Hamilton, welcome to Ferrari. This is Ferrari. Instead, yet again, Luther's Hamilton hate is in full force. This guy finished only 2 places behind Charles Leclerc. And also, this is a Ferrari golden boy in Charles Leclerc who slipped and got overtaken by the racing balls of Yuki Tsunoda and then had to also overtake Gasly and all this. And yet Luther doesn't place one single blame on Charles Leclerc. He goes for the jugular of Lewis Hamilton. It's him. It's his fault. Luther may claim that I've misunderstood him about getting used to the Ferrari car, but it's normal. It's the first race. What a race to get used to Ferrari, your new machinery.
I must clarify, my point about Hamilton has nothing to do with this race. This race specifically, the Ferrari was clearly struggling in qualifying and just after Saturday. It's similar to what happened last year, where sometimes I'd have an amazing Friday and then Saturday, Singapore, for example, it all changes. That happened this week. My whole point is the discourse around Hamilton. I'm tired of hearing these early excuses about adjusting. There are so many people adjusting. Stop talking about it and do it.
It is very telling that we are this far into the video and Luther has failed to really mention Lando Norris's victory in Australia. The first time he's leading the championship in his career. Okay, it's the first race, but Luther hasn't spared any moment to talk about his arch rival, McLaren. Did you mention Lando Norris?
No.
A lot of respect to Lando Norris today because there were a lot of drivers that couldn't keep it on track. And look at Piastri. Lando Norris also slipped when Piastri slipped, but Lando Norris kept it on track. So, by keeping it on track, I mean that he didn't lose the car fully. That ended his race like Piastri. But Lando Norris managed to see it through to the end and get an important victory that was needed. McLaren have the fastest car, so Lando Norris needed to put out a statement that he is here to challenge for the title. And he is a different Lando Norris, not Lando No-Wins.
Before we continue with the video, I want to say if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and push the notifications bell so you get notifications whenever we drop content throughout this F1 season. Anyway, statement win. Are you taking the piss? The fastest car. We saw how bad that Red Bull was. Look at Liam Lawson. He had a bad weekend. He's not that bad a driver. That car is a terrible car. And Lando Norris won by how much? Less than a second. Max Verstappen is significantly better than every driver on the grid. But that McLaren is significantly better than every other car on the grid. A statement win by Lando Norris would have been significantly larger than that. The only reason Max Verstappen was close to Lando Norris was because Lando Norris made a mistake towards the end of the race and Max Verstappen closed up on him. Especially the way they had to coach Lando Norris through that race. Don't overdrive the car. Oh, I think I need the wet tire. Oh, it's going to rain. Let's put it on now. No, it's dry, Lando. You will melt your tires, bro. Relax.
I mean, my race was over when Hajar crashed before the race even began. So that took a lot out of me. But my God, were my spirits raised from that Ferrari disaster class to see it on Luther's face. But also Liam Lawson, who I have said from the start in my prediction that he is not ready for Red Bull. People will say, our fans have said in the comments, that the machinery of Red Bull is tailored so clearly to Verstappen that it's difficult for any driver to survive as a Red Bull second driver matching Verstappen. But Liam Lawson, that was an embarrassment. You couldn't even get past the Saubers.
But I want to go on to talk about Andrea Kimi Antonelli, because an absolutely fantastic Formula One debut for someone that is being touted as one of the most recent generational drivers to join the grid. Congratulations to him, and Mercedes might have got one of them ones because it was a fantastic drive, and we know how strong he is in the wet. George Russell on the podium as well. It was an incredible start to the season for Mercedes.
An important thing to mention is Oscar Piastri, because both Luther and I said pre-season that Piastri needs to show himself this season. He needs to challenge Lando Norris for the championship and for the #1 spot at McLaren. And so unfortunately with this rain, with him crashing out from second and finishing ninth, that's already taken a dent to his hopes that he can become this #1 driver, because we had a lot of faith in him. But right now he has started off in the worst possible way.
Was that the most chaotic start to an F1 season in recent memory? Think about it. We had Isaac Hadjar crashing before the race even started. Jack Doohan and Carlos Sainz crashed on the first lap of the race. And we had 7 laps of safety car racing before we had any actual racing. Oscar Piastri goes off track. Gabi Bortoleto crashes. Fernando Alonso crashes. And through all that, Lando Norris came to get victory. And in that process, ended Max Verstappen's nearly 4-year run of leading the championship.